Okay, welcome back to my channel. It is Justice here, and in case you don't know, I am a high school business teacher. I teach all of our accounting classes. I'm the only accounting teacher, so I teach Intro to Accounting or Fundamentals of Accounting, Advanced Accounting, and then I also teach Introduction to Business. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing on the first day of school, because when I first started teaching, I had no idea what I was going to do on the first day of school with high schoolers. So let's get into it. Okay, so this first thing I'm going to talk about and show you, I am going to do with my Introduction to Business students and Fundamental Accounting students. Now, some of my accounting students I will already know, because they took my Intro to Business class, and now Intro to Accounting is the next step if they're taking that pathway here in Indiana. But a lot of the students I'm not gonna know. And one of my teacher friends did this last year and I really liked it. And basically what he had them do was create like either a friendship bracelet or like a keychain using a whole bunch of beads. And the reason why I'm going to do this as well is because we have an abundance of beads at my house that we do not use. We used it one time for a Taylor Swift night, and we have a whole bunch of extra. So I figured this is a really good way to get them out of our house. And basically what they're going to do is choose a word that describes them, put that word on the keychain or the bracelet that they're creating. Obviously they have the colorful ones that they can kind of make it a little more unique. And then they're gonna have to come up to my desk and introduce themselves and tell me why they chose that word. So for this activity, I already showed you I have a bunch of beads and a bunch of letter beads. So you see I'm trying to get rid of all of them. Now I'll show you, but I also got these little containers to put the beads in. And you might be asking why, because these things break all the time, hence why all of these are in a jar. So I'm going to separate them and organize them into these bins. I'll have these laying out around my classroom with some string or pipe cleaner, whatever I decide to use. And that's what my Introduction to Business and Fundamentals of Accounting students are gonna do the very first day of school. It is now nighttime after I have organized and color coordinated all of these beads. It took me a crazy amount of time to do this, but it is helping me see what colors actually need to be replenished. I'm going to show you because it is kind of satisfying to look at. So let me show you real quick. Okay, so these are all of them organized by color. I also have two more of those kind of letters. Oops, sorry. And I need to go get two more containers for these. But these are all the colors, nice and organized. Took me forever. I definitely need to replenish the red. My school colors are red, so I imagine that a couple people will be using those. Need to replenish the pink. These were used for a Taylor Swift night, so obviously pink was used. I might replenish the white too, and maybe the purple. Definitely the red and pink for sure are getting replenished. And I don't remember if I mentioned it, but the reason why I'm organizing them like this is because I do want to spread them like around my room. I like having my students do activities where they walk around my room and they're not just sitting in their chairs every day, all day. So I feel like I like including introduction assignments at the beginning of the year that kind of are going to resemble different activities that we're going to do throughout the year. So I'm going to get them introduced to moving up, like getting up and moving around my classroom at the very beginning of the semester. So that way when we do activities throughout the semester, it's nothing new to them. They've already been doing it since literally day one. Okay, and then for my advanced accounting students, I have known them, most of them actually for like 2 years now, some of them for 3 years, because I used to teach prep for college and career, so I had them as freshmen. So I don't really need to do like an introduction assignment with them. I'm pretty much just gonna obviously go through some of the syllabus items. It is an advanced class, but the first thing I'm going to have them start working on is a review project, because if they don't remember what they did in fundamentals of accounting, they're going to struggle really hard in advanced accounting. Okay, if you know anything about accounting, it's pretty black and white. So we're going to do mostly review for the first 3 weeks. And if you guys remember, if you watched my classroom tour video, which is the last video I did, I had this bulletin board on my wall. It's right here above my hand, completely empty. And what I'm going to have my advanced accounting students do is create a bulletin board for me using Canva. And I'll show you an example right here in this video. So let's start in Canva and find the poster landscape template, and then they can go and look up border in the elements section. Whatever they want to use, it'll be replicated. I actually chose a background to use, and then you'll see later that I actually go and add a text box around that. So this is the background that I chose. So I'll use that background and I'll make that bigger to fill up the space. And now I'm going to go and find just a regular rectangle shape to put around it, so it'll kind of resemble a border, just like I am doing right here, making it bigger. Now you can see that background kind of looks more like a border rather than just taking up the whole background. I changed mine to black. Now I am just copying a bulletin board that's already in my classroom, so I am going to add some text here, and you'll see towards the end it's going to have the accounting equation on it. So I'm going to go ahead and skip through that real quick and kind of show you. And now I have the first letters. I'm going to go ahead and add like what each letter actually is. So assets, liabilities, and equity. You'll see I'm about to do that here in a minute after I change the font. And in this section, I'm just outlining with an effect and changing the color of the outline. And now I'm going to actually start adding in the actual words. So A for assets, L for liabilities, and E for equity. And again, this is an actual bulletin board that's already in my classroom that I'm just going to use as an example for my advanced accounting students. All right, so you can see I'm adding in those words, assets, liabilities, and equity. I also added the effects that I added to the letters with the outline and changed it to blue. On my actual bulletin board, it is different colors, but just for the video's sake on how to use Canva, I did that. And now I'm going to have each, on their bulletin board, they're going to have actual visuals and graphics. So I'm going to go ahead and just go add the graphics real quick. I'll show you the first one I'm going to add, and then I'll show you what the final result looks like right here. So here is my finished bulletin board example that I'm going to show my advanced accounting students. Okay, so once they create that bulletin board in Canva, they'll submit that to me, and I will have the class vote on which one they think looks the best. That obviously has all the content in the lesson included. So the class will vote on that. I like to do that a lot with my classes because, one, now the students know that everybody's going to be looking at their project, so they do try a little bit harder. And two, whoever wins, I usually give them some extra credit points, because that's why I usually do that. And then the winner, again, only if they have everything that's on the lesson on their bulletin board, or I might have them revise it if they're missing like one or two things. The winner, I'm going to actually create the bulletin board that they submitted on my wall for my fundamentals of accounting students, because it's going to be over stuff that they learned the year prior in fundamentals of accounting. Okay, so that's what I'm doing on the first day of school with my students. Classes are about to start, and I'm not going back into my classroom until next week when I have to for teacher work days, and that's when you'll get a full classroom tour. So stay tuned for that. Like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you when I'm in my classroom next.